My question is not on this book, but in the context of your book, The Indian Way, Strategies for an Uncertain World, which I'm still reading. And the chapter that I am in is the dogmas of the Delhi. So I finished the Krishna choice, and I have read Srimad Bhagavad Gita several times in Hindi and partly in Sanskrit. So I'm going to ask you a question regarding two present decisions that the government of India has taken and which you represent for us in the context of Krishna's choice that you have mentioned there. One is the Ukraine war. We have taken a position there, and we have heard you on YouTube, on television. So the question is, if the Ukraine war prolongs, will the Krishna choice change, get modified, or how it will happen? Because it seems that the war is going to prolong, at least that's my understanding. You can definitely say better on that. The second question is that in the recent past, on the statement of a political leader, we had to cut bit sorry in the international affairs. I am not going to go into detail. I am very sure you understand it. Do you think the Krishna choice in these two, the Ukraine where we have seen your exposition in a very different way in Europe, is different than what we have done here? And are these both the Krishna choice, or we did make certain compromises? I will like your view on that. Thank you.
Just one.
Okay, clearly you said the toughest one for the end. But look, I think in the case of what is happening in Ukraine, okay, even in, I mean, for those of you who may not have read my book, essentially what in one of the chapters of my book, I have tried to take the various scenarios, situations of the Mahabharata and try to relate it to diplomatic happenings and situations as they happen in contemporary times. So that's the analogy which the professor is talking about. Now, the central message which I give there is actually life is very complex. That very often what is right, what is wrong, what is in your interest, what is not, where should you be restrained, where should you not, when is the time to act, when is the time to be silent. These are not very clear black and white choices. That if you actually follow Shri Krishna's journey through the Mahabharata in a way, whether it's as a diplomat, whether it is as an advisor, there are positions he has taken and courses of action he has advocated during that period. My sense is, from that perspective, what we are doing in the case of Ukraine, I believe is the right course for this reason. Number one, it is a very complex issue, and the real issue, to my mind, the most urgent issue is to prevent hostilities from escalating to a level where it only does harm. In that sense, actually, there is a Krishna's choice. I mean, Krishna does do everything in his power to actually prevent the war. So he is actually the emissary who says, look, find some way of working it out, return to dialogue and diplomacy, which is our Ukraine position. On the on the complexity and what is happening, I also think that there are other aspects of Krishna's choice there, because we have interests at stake. We have historical interests, we have strategic interests, we have current interests, and we have to manage those interests. I mean, even in Mahabharata, a lot of it is your beliefs and principles and your interests. How do you harmonize that? And I think that is a challenge that we face here as well. There is also a larger issue today, increasingly flowing out of the Ukraine conflict. It is an issue about fuel shortage, it is an issue about food shortage, it is an issue of fertilizer shortage, which will become food shortage in the coming years. So when the global praja, in a way, is very deeply impacted by what is happening in a conflict, I think there the more sagacious voices, the more sober voices need to speak. At the same time, as someone responsible for the welfare of my own people, I have to do what I have to do to ensure their best interest, and I think that in a sense is what I'm doing. Regarding your other observation, look, you know, to my mind, I didn't have time to dilate on it. I refer to it in my book. Prime Minister Modi has spent a lot of attention on changing our you know, I would say our image, our engagement, actually our relationship with countries in the Gulf. And in fact, only recently he was in UAE as well as in that regard. Now, because he is visible, because he has been active on the international stage, a lot of world leaders know him. Okay. They know him, they know us, they know this government, they know what are our views. So I think when we asserted that, you know, what was said did not reflect the views of the party in that case, and because many of them took it up with ambassadors, obviously the ambassadors also pointed that out. I think they accepted that. You know, if you see a lot of the response of a lot of countries took the view saying that, look, we regret what was said. We have also noted what in this case, the party concerned, the BJP, has clarified. So I think here our very activity, our energy, our prior understanding of what India is and, you know, what is the dispensation in India, I think was helpful in that regard.